in the previous quarter, he was pretty much failing 4 classes and he was on the brink of being held back. And he made a drastic change from the third quarter to the fourth quarter. And just looking at like going from 20-point jumps in his overall grade in those classes, I was like, wow, like what happened? What changed that all of a sudden that you went from on the brink of total collapse and failure to now you're doing pretty good. The first thing that he named is Tech Coach Ralph here. Wanted to welcome you. Just wanted to take this opportunity to share a quick story with you from one of my coaching calls that I had earlier this week. Talking to this 13-year-old young man that his mother signed him up for coaching with me. And in the previous quarter, he was pretty much failing 4 classes and he was on the brink of being held back. So this is in the third quarter. Now we're in the fourth quarter. And he made a drastic change from the third quarter to the fourth quarter, where now he's only at risk of failing 1 class. And I think at this point right now, he is passing that class with a low score, but he says that he wants to pass it with at least a B, right? And just looking at like going from 20-point jumps in his overall grade in those classes, I was like, wow, like what happened? What changed that all of a sudden that you went from on the brink of total collapse and failure to now you're doing pretty good. And one thing that stood out to me, which was the first thing that he named, is I didn't have a schedule and a calendar before. One of the first things that we do with our tech coaching is we establish a calendar of what you have to work on and when you have to work on it. And then we set appointments and schedules and we follow a system. We're not winging it. We're not just going at it at random and say, oh, if I have time for this, if I have time for that. Because when you work that way, then you're going to be, well, I feel like watching TV this time, or I feel like going outside when you have tons and tons and tons of work to do. No, that doesn't work. So we set up a schedule where this is the time that you're going to work on your math work. This is the time you're going to study for English, you're going to study for science, everything's on the schedule. We even have the time. This is the time that you relax. This is the time that you eat. This is the time you go play basketball. This is the time that you sleep. This is the time that you're in school. This is the time that you read. Everything. We have everything set up, right? So, and then of course, this is a schedule that, like, as things always come up, we're not going to be able to keep that schedule consistently every single time, but we have a foundation. So what we do is we set up our calendars primarily using Google Calendar, and now with reminders. So now let's say at 6 o'clock you got to start working on your math homework, right? So you get a reminder 15 to 30 minutes before saying, okay, you need to, it's almost time to work on math. So you transition to that, right? If you're not finished with whatever you're working on, you put that on hold, and now you're going to come back to it when the time is appropriate. But we work on our schedules, and we don't miss, because the way that you were doing things got you into the position that you were before. So it doesn't work. So I really don't want your thoughts on how to fail. So we need to establish the winning way, and then as we start to make progress, we can start making tweaks and adjustments. We fine tune it to give us the most productivity possible. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that a little insight from a coaching call that I had, where we saw, and this is within almost 2 months. Like, it's been less than 2 months that we've been working together, and we've seen a big jump. And this is a 13-year-old young man. That's his whole future ahead of him. So there's a lot more that goes into the coaching, and especially on the technical coaching side. But this is just a small glimpse at how a 13-year-old young man was failing in his pretty much 4 out of his 6 classes, and he made a huge turnaround within a 2-month time frame, where he's going to be now passing all his classes, hopefully with high C's and B's. But if we had started at the beginning of the school year, I guarantee it'd be straight A's all across. So thanks for watching this video. Just wanted to share that with you, and leave me a comment. Feel free to reach out to me, contact me, and have a great day.